Hello, I am back. Even though not everything is up and running yet. That's doing better now. I can hear myself, that's good. Hear my monitor. Let's get chat back working. Oh, I've got to open that. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hi, I'm Chef Jay Tay. Happy to see all of you. Hopefully you've had a good weekend. Happy Sunday to you. Repeating myself, but sort of starting a new video. We're doing the first of our state Sundays. So we're doing Alabama tonight. I don't know why I feel like I have to put that accent on, but I feel like I have to put that accent on when I'm talking to Alabama, about Alabama. I apologize if that offends anyone. Because I am very much more of a northerner boy. But hey, we've got a cutting board camera back. It's a little off kilter. Let's fix that. Let's make some coffee. I've got Cornish hens. I got 2 Cornish hens back here defrosting. I made a last minute decision. I was in the warehouse store today, and they had Cornish hens at a relatively okay price. And I don't remember what it is, don't ask me. And I was like, do I want to do that, or do I want to get a chicken and deal with it? Let's do something different. So we have Cornish hens, and I have another 4 of them to cook in the future that are frozen. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get chat back open so I actually see what everyone's saying and who's all here and all that amazing stuff. Okay, let's see here. Hello, Soph. Welcome in, JK. Hello, Will Poker. Hello, Abby Mart. Welcome in, Gold for XP. Hello, Nan Raider. I folded that backwards. No wonder that didn't go as smoothly as normal. Hario has a very impressive term for how you're supposed to fold the edge of the filter. I can't remember it right now, which is a little irritating. Thought I'd share that with all of you. So, hopefully I got all my cameras back. I haven't checked them all. This is sort of like an issue of me having too many things plugged in USB-wise, but I haven't made any changes to deserve that. So I am a little confused. It makes me worry that we got everything here. Well, let's see. It's different, so this will probably be fine. Yep. Okay, we're back in business. And we're going to an ad here because I restarted stream. My advertisement alerts are working. That was incredibly quiet, though. I have to remember to turn that up. Oh, hey, that's right in front of me. I can do that. Hey, how convenient. Let's make that about 150. Welcome in, Dragon. Ooh, they've tied it up. Wow. Chocolate had quite a lead there. Bacon versus chocolate is tied at over 1,000. Hey, Valley. Let's see what's going on over at YouTube. It usually doesn't handle this sort of thing very well. Nope. YouTube not handling it well. We're going to have to do a file transfer after the stream ends. Why are you still making noise? Quiet. Hush. I didn't know there were any three-letter words. Three-letter words are, it almost seems unfair. And then you back it up with carbonara, so I mean... Robbed by who? We got an interesting night tonight ahead of us. I've broken out the smoker for smoking our hens later. And later after that, I'm going to show everyone my beaver, my other type of beaver. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you for joining me. Cheers. And I don't know if these have defrosted yet or not. They've been in here for a minute, but I think I'm going to give them another minute in here. Let's see what we got. It's not as defrosted as I would really want it to be. I'm going to throw it back in the water a little bit. Well, disrobe the other one while I'm at it, though. Yeah, you're the same. We'll let those both defrost a bit longer. And instead, I'm going to turn my attention to cake. Oh yeah, there's cake tonight too. I'm cheating with the cake though. That's a square one. I need a round one. I need 2 round ones actually. Hi there. Alright, all set with that now. That's looking a little dirty. Let's give that a clean up. Let's give both of those a clean up. That was 2 words. What is up with the scramble? Alright, what do we need for this? Butter. No, I don't do beets here very often. But welcome in AM radio. Don't do those types of beats here much either. It's been a long time since I've actually played any music. I'll play music in my house, but as actually playing music myself, don't even really have instruments to do that anymore around here. That did not slice as nicely as I had hoped. There we go. So we'll start with, 2 eggs. True. I did just hear a pretty good rendition of Spoon Man. Don't have the guitars and drums to go along with it, though. Wait, I did that wrong. I think I melted too much butter. Yeah, I melted too much butter. Now this part I want to get a little more exact because I don't want to mess up the other part of this. So I'm doing half of my box of cake mix. I'm hoping to do two 4-inch cakes with this. This might be a bit light for that, but I didn't want to do like 3/4 of a box mix, and I certainly don't need a whole box mix. I don't need this. That's reminding me that I forgot a rather crucial ingredient for tonight's dinner. I don't think I have any here at home either. In fact, I'm pretty certain that I don't. That's a bummer. I oopsed up, chat. I need a supplemental. Darn it. I forgot the raisins. I was supposed to be soaking raisins in booze. I guess I'll just soak the cake in booze. That's a bummer. Did I use it? I think I used up all those too. I used to have some. I don't see those back there either. I had some dried cherries before too, but I think I finished those up or threw them out or something. save the rest of this batter mix. Oh wait, I've got a clip over here that I need to use. Get out of my way. I'm just rubbing the butter all over the inside, just giving a light coat. I have no idea what's going on there. What are you looking at, camera? No. What's so exciting over there? There you go. It's focusing on my toaster oven behind it for some reason. It's my Black & Decker toaster oven. Toast our oven. Not a sponsor, just had it for ages. Probably don't make that one anymore. They probably make it from the same, they probably are using the same factory with the same stamp out and the same design and maybe even the same dials and everything, but they probably got a different name for it by now. I should use it more often than I do. I got quite a few Black & Decker things over the years. My waffle machine's a Black & Decker too. One of those old school flat metal ones that's down over there, but if you've been hanging out, you've seen it. I used to use it a lot more when I had it on the counter over here, and I rearranged things like 3 or 4 years ago, and it didn't fit on the counter really anymore. And it rarely gets used now. It's a better option than heating up the whole oven when you're just doing something small. Like my mom has like a countertop oven that she uses more than her normal stove oven because I think for that exact reason it doesn't heat up the whole house, doesn't. Waiting on the oven to preheat, waiting on, I don't know, procrastinating a little bit because our chicken isn't quite defrosted. I'm just gonna eyeball our dividing of cakes. So did I gyp this one? I think this one's got an air pocket in it. I might have gypped that one a little bit. So ads didn't run properly for the second run through. I didn't notice. Did we get a chat summary earlier from it? I've made some rather drastic changes to LLM use by the bot, and so I basically decided that it was too much, it was too taxing to keep all of it there on the same system. And so now I'm pulling my system that's running OBS back there for Olama stuff instead of on the Raspberry Pi. But that means that recording with VRAM and while I occasionally use Gemini or other APIs, even though it's like a couple of, like, my API use is somewhere in the ballpark of $3 a month right now. I don't like spending money for that. We'll see if it... Well, let's actually check. Let's see if the bot's erroring out. I didn't check that. Let's look at the logs. Oh, hey! There's some obvious issues. Not sure if that'll fix what it is, but it was a 2-second change that might help things. New adventures. I'm sort of new to Olama. I've been using a little bit with the bot, but I am by no means like master of the LLMs locally hosted or open source or... We're gonna need a deep pan for this. Let's grab a 4-inch hotel pan here. You loosening up your birdies? You're getting a little better. Wings are moving. Still sort of solid inside, though. Yeah, that's still sort of frozen. It's built-in captions. Hey, Sniper. Welcome in, Downward Doggo. No, this isn't AI. The captions are not AI. But I am doing summaries of chat. I'm doing analysis of my videos after the videos are done. Yeah, Sniper, I had an issue with my USB connections with my cameras, and I started up, and a couple minutes into stream, I realized that my cutting board camera wasn't working, and so I had to reboot and restart the stream. Well, the AI gets this view too. It gets to see everything. It gets the eye in the sky. Hi, Alex. I'm sure most of you have seen the meme of that dude that's on, I don't know what app, you know, one of those apps where you flip through people and he just shows like 6 different camera views, you know, and then you have the angle camera. I wish those birds were defrosted. Yeah, this one's a PTZ cam, and that one up there is a PZ cam. It wiggles. We call it Mr. Wiggles. Not this one, though. This one's a little bit better. Son of Wiggles is trying to force water through them to help agitate the inner chamber that we have to cut through, because I'm spatchcocking these. All right, why don't we throw our cakes in? Oven's hot. Take a look at those in 22 minutes. My guesstimate of when they'll be done. Yeah, that's sort of a bummer. I should have remembered raisins. I've had a couple of ones like that lately. With me doing my planning and buying things. I've had a couple of slip-ups lately. I've been able to cover for a lot of them. This one I can't really cover for. I need something to sort of soak the top on top of there. What am I going to do with extra butter? They'll do fine on the chicken. Or on the hens. So let's see. Non-war, non-political news. Let's see what's going on in the world. Nothing there in the food industry tab. Other than some weird interaction between customer and server. That I know that was clear as mud to all y'all. Bunch of wine companies. I don't know if it's an expansion or a consolidation. there's all sorts of news in the wine world, and I sort of feel like it's a major consolidation. At the very least, you have a major consolidation in facilities processing wine, like the places where they're crushing the grapes and actually mixing and fermenting. That's in many cases not actually done at the vineyard anymore. Buc-ee's expanding to 7 new states. Ooh, 7 new states with comfy restrooms. Most truck stops are, I don't know. I've been to a Buc-ee's. They have an impressive amount of food and other things. It's relatively clean place. I've been to some other truck stops that are relatively clean too. I think they just have better marketing. Like the big solid truck stops that are the hubs of the trucking industry, they're nice. Like they have business. But back to wine. There is most certainly a major consolidation going in the actual processing. It sounds like a lot of the big ones are consolidating that further. Like they had several places and they're putting them all together now. But there's talks about expansions at the same time. Well, the headline underneath that, too, is expansion plans come as about 100,000 tons of grapes were left unpicked in 2025. It's a little like I don't understand, it's a little like the bourbon industry. Like, I know they have to plan out, they're planning their wines a couple years out, they're planning their bourbons several years out, so they have to have things demand out a couple of years ahead of time. But if these industries are not selling and Zoomers are not drinking, it's not a good sign for the booze industry. Oh, here it comes. People have been talking about Vegas being dead. Potential buyers circle Caesars Entertainment amid valuation drop. I know Vegas is a hodgepodge of, like the casinos aren't owned by half of the casinos are owned by their competitors' casinos. The property is owned by other company, and it's a little like the shipping industry at this point, where you've got like 5 different nations working for this one boat. These casinos are controlled by so many different conglomerates and stuff at this point. But still, that does not bode well that Caesars Entertainment has got venture capital looking at it. All right, I'm down to my last tab. Thank you for the follow. That sounds yummy. I haven't seen one of those before. Doesn't sound too exotic either. What do y'all think about a grilled pineapple sundae with a hot buttered rum sauce? That sounds delicious to me. Like, adding that bitter to the grilled pineapple. Yeah. Maybe softening it up a little bit to pair it with that soft ice cream. That sounds like a plan. And that wraps up my news in the food world for tonight, I guess. I guess I have to go back to real news if we're going to hang out for another minute here waiting on our chickens to, or hens to defrost. Yep, we can skip the top half of this. There's one that can maybe fit. What we got going on here? Oh, that's another sign of that. Ooh. That's a rough sign of the times. One there. McDonald's doubles down on free refill policy as customer attempts to go back all day for soda. Lovely title. But the real line there is that McDonald's is apparently pulling out the soda machines in most of their locations so that you don't have a soda location to go back and refill, and are leaving it up to franchisees to charge for refills. Welcome to the world of charged McDonald's refills. Everything else is news that I don't want to talk about. And considering what I just said about McDonald's, yeah. What else you got for food, Google? Hello, neighbor doggy. Narrator, thank you for the resub. F1 season starts this week. You mean just in time for Ferrari to... I don't know what Ferrari's trying to do anymore. Did that just alert twice? Or did I miss something there? Appreciate the resub, Nan Reader. Yeah, I just repeated it twice in chat. And hey, everyone got an extra 25 sprinkles. bonus. All right, I'm going with these birds, still frozen or not. Take the frozen ice cube and kidney out. And cut off the extra fat here. And flip and breast crush. Set this over in the pan. Keeping the spine and scraps because I'm going to roast them all and potentially use them. Actually, no, I'm not really planning to use them. Thinking that through. Normally I would consider to use that for making a gravy or some sort of sauce, but we're doing barbecue style tonight. That said, I'm not properly smoking these for hours on end. Are you saying that you can't handle what you eat? Like if you eat chicken, there's no difference. Enjoy your chicken nuggets, not knowing what pink slime is. Round two. Alright. Add this one over here. And dry off or rinse off our board again. Not really a sanitary rinse up here when it comes to the board. I'm just trying to get all the massive amount of chicken juice off of it. We'll give it a bit of a quick dry up here. And go back. Because we need to dry off these chickens next. Or hens. I'm going to be calling them chickens all night, chat. That was the other kidney that didn't come off the first one. Now I'm getting the excess liquid out of the pan that I had them in before. Now we're seasoning these. Really tempted to go for the smoked salt, but not going to. Because it's gonna give them a darker color. There's a bunch of charcoal mixed in, or volcanic ash mixed in with my smoked salt. So we'll start off with a hefty pinch of salt on each of these. Onto the cracked pepper. Cake's almost out. Done. In fact, it's gonna go off while I'm doing this pepper. We have cake. Are the cakes done though? They have toasty tops. I'm gonna give those another 3 minutes. They're close. Really close. Let's get out of here, Feather. We don't need you, Feather. A few more back here. Need more pepper. That wasn't enough pepper. I got distracted by cake. That doesn't happen to me often. I feel that may happen to other people more often than me. And a little garlic. Which isn't really barbecue, but it is me. And then we're going to carefully lay these in this pan so that hopefully we don't have to stack too much. Yeah. Let's get this out of here. So we've got our hens in a pan now. We're going to need to mostly seal this up, so I'm going to plastic wrap this now. He says forgetting he had a timer set. Yeah, that's why I wanted to, and it collapsed. Just from bringing it out for a couple of seconds. But I think we're good otherwise there. We definitely had a overflow on one of our cakes here. I'm sort of hiding it well by its location at the moment. But we had a overflow over here. Oh, there we go. Overflow. It was too much for my pans. And here I was worried that a half batch was going to be too little for them. Actually, I probably should have known it was going to be enough when I filled them, but prior to that. Definitely still need you on. But next, we get into smoking time. And that's going to happen over here on the stove because I want the fan to be able to pick up whatever smoke we're going to be putting into this project. So I am going to take you and swap you with All right, for smoking, I'm gonna go to full stove view for this project. And actually, let's take up a little more room here too. I need something about this distance away from it to hold. Oh, we can do this. Okay. Okay, for anyone that is unfamiliar with this tool, it has been a year or two since I've used it, or used it on stream either. What we have here is a small little portable smoker. This is a little fan. I turn it on. Hopefully it works. Should have checked the batteries. There we go. Turns the fan on. Forcing air down, out, through this, and through there. And we're going to put little wood chips in here to heat and smoke and fill up our chamber over here with fine hickory smoke, because I know these chips that I have are the finest hickory that can be found. Turning my fan on now. And so we're going to do one hole over here for our little tube to stick into. And we're going to do a little hole over here for smoke to escape. Hi, Splits! We'll fill up our little chamber here. And I don't know if that's gonna cut it for this. Is that gonna work for this? Let's try. I don't know that this really will do the job. All right, turning the fan on. Yeah, it isn't quite doing the job, I don't think. Is it not there? This thing's pushing air, right? It's running. It's like it's not getting air or something. Did I pack it too tight? Ooh, we're about to go to ads. It worked. Let's see if I can get this to work now. No. It's just not pulling air through it. Why isn't this working? Years after I've never used it before. As I recall, last time I used this, it was sort of finicky with getting going, and once it went, it was really good, but I just don't know that it's getting any air through this. I don't see how it couldn't. Like, I can see through it. There we go. Now we're filling that pan with smoke. Those are Cornish hens, they can see me. Welcome in. You'll see the smoke is now pushing out this side after starting over here, so hopefully we're pushing smoke over all of that hen. Oh, what are you doing, camera? Why are you focused over there? How long have you been focused over there? Has it been since I was over there? Oops. Oops. I don't think that was enough. Let's do some more. It's been switching for some reason. You mean when I turn over here? It's supposed to turn over here when I turn over here. When I face this camera, it's supposed to show this camera. Hey, Mimic. Welcome in. I'm smoking Cornish hens for anyone just joining in. We've got a little mini smoker here pulling wood chips, heat through there, sending the smoke through this pipe into here, and we're leaking it out through a little cut in the top corner over there. March Madness in 2 weeks, huh? So we got Formula One, we got March Madness. I think this is going to be the last that I use of the chips here. I think this is going to be our last batch here. It's piled up there pretty good though, so this might take another moment. But it's just steadily throwing smoke there. You can see how much of it is streaming out of it, is being forced out of it. I don't smoke in my house enough to have that sort of an issue. There's no smoke, like, this is about, like, as I was saying earlier, this is the first time I pulled this machine out in over a year, if not 2 years. But once it's done smoking, I'm going to let that fan just keep going and keep pushing air until we actually push most of that smoke back out of there before we add this into the oven. That said, I do produce enough smoke from my pans and stuff like that in this house. Like, I make my house smoky quite often, but I don't, like, smoke foods in my house very often. Like, it's usually more me having a cast iron pan that's too hot and smoking from, I don't know, drying it out on the stove or searing something or grilling something on the stove or... I also like to air out my house. I aired out my house like 10 minutes before stream started. I do it pretty often. Opened a couple of windows, turned on all the fans. I've got 3 different fans in this house that go through the roof. I turn all 3 of them on, opened a couple of windows, and let it sit for 15 minutes, and then move on with my life. Why 3 fans, you say? I have my hood vent, I have the laundry vent, and I have my bathroom vent. coffee done for tonight. That was a nice chocolatey finish to that cup, though. That was nice. Well, what else would you suggest for Texas? I can think of other things for Texas, but it's sort of like your thing. I mean, I guess we could do Kansas barbecue. Cake. Or beer. Actually, it's sort of funny that they still sort of get that title. Like, I'm sure they still have a fair number of factories there. But they don't really hold the Beer King title anymore. Like, it's not even Chicago anymore, but a couple of years it was Chicago with how many bars they had. Ridiculous. What kind of lasagna? Welcome in, Space. So these are a nice buttery cake so far. See if we can't get these to separate from the pan. Nice. Did you do your own ricotta or did you buy a ricotta? It's mostly size they can see me. Cornish hens are a rather small bird compared. Maybe not compared to chickens when I was like a kid, but today, ginormous chicken breast chickens. I would say that a hen denotes it being a female bird, but basically all chickens are female too. Male chickens do not have long lives. Love the crust, but it's not going to work well for it being a layer cake, so we're busting off the crust. It's only not an excuse to sit here and eat cake on stream. There's all sorts of chowder now. People started abusing the name for all sorts of other soups. But even without that, I like me some corn chowder. I like potato chowder. Doesn't have to have clams. You buying the Maine lobster and having it flown out? I don't think that's happening. That's actually one of the few foods that I haven't had like the real deal on, and I sort of want the real deal on to have the real deal to know what it's really supposed to be like. Will Florida be oranges? Does Mar-a-Lago have a dish it's known for? Alright, turning the fan off. That's looking like it's blown most of the smoke back out of that. Is that going to come out too? Yeah, that will. And I was about to dump this into the trash, but I feel that's a bad plan. Has anyone else moved where they keep their like pocket stuff? This is sort of an odd question, but it's spawned by me putting the lighter back there. A couple of years ago now, I started seeing all these news articles about people stealing cars and stealing other things, and I am aware of things like that can do that sort of stuff, that can steal RFID signals and all of that fun stuff. And a couple of years ago, I used to keep all of my pocket stuff right next to the door, easy to pick up right outside. And a couple of years ago, I moved it to the center of the house, because I've started seeing news articles about car thieves coming up to doorways with giant antennas or giant wires being used as antennas to steal the codes through a couple of feet of door or house. The Cadillac converter? I'm sorry, that got me. The Cadillac converter. Please tell me that was spell check. All right, using our barbecue-like roasting pan tonight, we're going to take the plastic wrap off of this now. If I can get the plastic wrap to come... Wow. And we're transferring the chickens, or the Cornish hens, to the roasting rack. Like, spatchcocked, I couldn't fit 2 chickens on a normal pan like this. I could maybe very tightly fit them the other way with the legs like overlapping like I did in the hotel pan earlier. But to give you an idea, like, they're about 75% the size. 50 to 75% the size. I did. I cut the backbone out of them. Those are hanging out on the stove there in the pan. And so these are now ready to go into the oven. I'm going to increase the heat on the oven. I was at 350 for the cake. We're now at 400. I'm going to ditch the backbones. What seasoning? Salt, pepper, garlic. Lots of salt and pepper. Light garlic. Keeping it relatively simple. But that's barbecue style. You know, and what I have seen of how this is done in Alabama, where I'm not properly smoking this in a low and slow smoker for a couple hours. But aside from that, I'm trying to be relatively authentic. The other major thing that I'm doing that will not be authentic with this is I'm not going to dunk the whole birds, and so I'm not making enough sauce that I can dunk the birds in sauce. I'm sorry. What are the sides? I didn't really have a huge plan for the sides. I was thinking I was going to wedge up some potatoes and throw them in the oven with the chicken. And then I should get on that since the chicken's in the oven now. But that was basically it. I have broccoli in the house. I also bought some frozen broccoli. We got to make our white barbecue sauce still, though. So we got to do that while this is all cooking. What is lane cake? Well, you're looking at the cake part of that so far. I'm doing little 4-inch cakes, which is not... It's a full-size cake normally, but I don't need... I got enough cake. So a lane cake is a... I forgot the raisins. I'm kicking myself. I needed raisins for this cake to be proper. But it is a simple yellow-white cake that is both soaked in bourbon and topped with bourbon-soaked raisins, walnuts, and a little maraschino cherry, just a little bit. and then with a white frosting or a baked frosting or a meringue on the outside of it. I'm not going to do a baked frosting or meringue. Those are beautiful things, but those are quite projects. I am going to do instead, we're going to do walnuts, we're going to do maraschinos. I'm trying to think of something else that I can throw in there with that. I don't have dried cherries anymore. But that's where we are with that. I also need to get out some cream cheese, because even though it's not cream cheese frosting traditionally, I wish I had craisins too. Craisins would be a good addition to this. What I really like about it, to be honest about it, is it's not full of spice. Like most of these dried fruit cakes, other things, and I understand back in the day when things were not necessarily highest quality and all of that, spice very much helped with making things taste good. I don't get like all of these dried fruit. I want to taste the fruit. I want to taste the nuts. I don't want this, all of these other spices in there muddying things up. And so I like the simple, like, yellow cake of this with the dried fruit, even though I don't have any dried fruit to use with it. Let's see here. No. Bacon pieces won't work. None of this stuff is probably gonna work. Oh, that's where those beans went. Yeah, I just don't have anything dried fruit wise. Like I usually have something left over from some recipe or something as far as dried fruit over there. What is white barbecue sauce? White barbecue sauce is sort of an Alabama only thing. It is a mayo-based barbecue. Mayo with apple cider vinegar. And then some of your other typical usual characters, garlic and onion. Let me pull up the other major one that I will be adding into this. No. What happened to that? I had it in front of me. I lost my tab. There we go. To remind myself what all is in there. I do have, I spoke of it earlier, my other beaver. I'm showing chat my other beaver. We're adding some cream horseradish into this party. But it often has hot sauce. So I'm going to use a little Frank's in there. I'm going to use a little horseradish. Which horseradish, you don't find that in a lot of barbecues. That's besides the mayo, that's sort of the outlier. But mayo, I could see mayo in some barbecue sauces, but they're not going to be white. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of mayo mixed in with everything else. The ketchup, the mustard, the brown sugar, Let me read the full recipe here. Mayonnaise, apple cider vinegar, water, Worcestershire sauce, kosher salt, garlic powder, onion powder, freshly ground black pepper, and hot sauce, and sometimes horseradish, and I'm adding horseradish. And actually, this recipe sounds like it's considerably thicker. Like, I've seen videos of them being just barely thicker than water thick when they're, like, dunking chickens into the liquid. Thank you for the sub, Space. Greatly appreciate that. And everyone's getting all sorts of sprinkles because the bot's doing double alerts for subscriptions. It's like, why do I have a pan here with a lid on it? And I remembered, oh yeah, that was used for hen smoking. Put the lid back on my... Put my smoker back away here. There's the back. It's got a little like velvety back. Came with all sorts of tools that I'll probably never use. Could probably replace the screen at this point, though. Where are you going to find a Cornish cock? Like I said, male chickens don't have a long life. Where'd my music go? I gotta get these potatoes in the oven. I'm slacking here. Cooking oil. Salt. Grabbed more than I needed there. What do we put for flavor on our taters? Yeah, we're doing wedges. Let's say a little cayenne. Garlic. onion. Where'd you go, paprika? Paprika for color. Cut side down. One of the cut sides down. I realize there are two cut sides. They both can't be down, but not on the skin side. In the oven. No, those aren't burgers. Those are cakes. Oh, hey. That worked all right that second time. Yeah, you're Yahoo's or Yahoo. Where did I get Yahoo? YouTube. Not working tonight. Broadcast ain't working. Cake. I could see them as burger buns though, especially if they're the other side around. That looks a little more burger bunish actually. Boozy cake. Sorry to hear that, Mouse. Yeah. Not happy with how my government has treated Canada or Europe in the last year or so. But that's an entirely different subject. I wish I didn't have to go out and get gas today, because I know it's going to be crazy expensive soon. What's the current price of a barrel? as of March 1st, $78 to $79 a barrel. And West Texas being 71.17 is always cheaper. They're talking over 100 now. Sort of wish I was invested in oil right now. I'm not invested in really anything right now. Okay, let's make our barbecue sauce. It's like I knew I had some in here somewhere. Where'd you go? Get over here, Mayo. Mayo. And this is a mayo-based sauce. Apple cider vinegar. Not light with it either. Frank's. Tabasco, just to give it some variety in hot sauce. Salt. Pepper. My addition, MSG. Horseradish. Garlic. Onion. What else did I forget? Worcestershire. You could whisk this and it'd be more effective. I'm apparently being a little lazy with this. And this is supposed to be heated? I put this all in a pan because I thought I read the sauce needs to be heated. No, I don't think this really needs to be heated. I should have probably just used a bowl. That is weird. It's not bad. It's like a refreshing barbecue sauce because of all the fat in that mayo. Like it's very cooling effect, but also heavy garlic, heavy. There's hot sauce in there. There's interesting. Reuse the bowl that I used for weighing out the cake batter before. Vanilla in with our cream cheese there. And butter I melted earlier, partially re-solidified, but at least room temp, so it might be awfully soft. Milk. I think I need to bring back the whisk for this project. This spoon isn't going to cut it. We're getting the lumps out. Nice! Buried underneath all the raw chicken stuff. All right, that needs a little more dairy in there to loosen it up. And now we need to thicken it up. Now we've loosened it up, we need to thicken it. No, that's not what I said, captions. I never really got to talking more about the The reason they're captions, Trad, is because I'm not giving you an option to turn them off. That's what closed captions give you, the option to turn them off. But actually, I'm just really taking the ones that are standard for most people on Twitch, because Twitch does have a system that auto figures out captions along, like, there's many companies that do captions. But okay. First off, you have all sorts of APIs out there in the world that will do captions for you. It's not really an LLM thing. And I am having a company do captions for me. But that's on top of, and Google has them, there's a number of them. The ones that you're seeing there, I believe, are Google. The ones that I think are on my live stream are using the Google API. But it's running through a plugin in OBS. And I have a feeling that most Twitch streamers use this plugin because it's set up to direct feed into Twitch's captions system. So not only do you get those lovely captions at the bottom of my screen like this, but if you're on Twitch and you click the captions button, or you have them on Twitch, you have the more classical white and black ones with the same thing. And it also works for VODs and all sorts of other stuff. And is that thick enough for this? Wow, that vanilla is strong. I'm adding more powdered sugar. Thickening it up. If I was keeping it less sweet, I could substitute starch for some of the sugar. It would thicken it without adding sweet. But that's no fun. There we go. That's a little more frosting thickness. Especially once it cools in the refrigerator for a few minutes. Maybe I should have put some bourbon in there instead of vanilla. Oh well. Looking at the sauce, there might be enough that I could at least do a decent drizzle over these chickens. Hens. I didn't set a timer. Ooh. Bad me. I'm giving them another 20 minutes as a guess. I have a feeling it's been a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but... Are we to that? We need to let this chill for a couple of minutes. We might be at a little bit of a break time here. I want to give that frosting a couple of minutes to set up and cool. I want to let the stuff in the oven go longer. The hens are looking lovely. By the way, they do have some nice color going. They're getting there. Potatoes looking great, but they were looking great going in, so. Alright, I'm going to take let's save a 5-minute. A little bit quicker AFK tonight.
Folks, why do you eat Wheaties?
We like it.
But did you know it's always been whole wheat with all the bran, and bran is one of nature's best sources of food fiber.
That's news to us.
Wheaties breakfast this morning?
Sure, it helps me feel fit.
But do you know Wheaties has bran fiber your body may need?
That's news to me.
Why Wheaties?
Oh, we love the taste.
Have for years. But do you know for years you've been getting something extra for your diet? Bran fiber?
Well, that's news to me.
Wheaties. It's brand news.
Well, no wonder my laundry bill is so high. All those napkins last week.
Doeskin.
What?
You should use Doeskin dinner napkins.
Paper napkins? Oh, no.
I don't mean thin little paper napkins, but Doeskin dinner napkins. You'll love them.
Everybody loves Doeskin dinner napkins. These soft linen-like napkins are 2-ply in smart formal fold, in white and in beautiful pastel colors. And Doeskin dinner napkins are big. They cover your whole lap, and they stay put. What's more, they last throughout the meal, and they leave no lint.
But they are nice. And they would save my linen.
They save you money, too. Doeskin dinner napkins cost only 49 cents for 5 dozen. That's a fraction of a penny apiece.
All right, Dottie.
You'll find Doeskin dinner napkins, Doeskin facial tissues, and other Doeskin products at your favorite grocery, supermarket, department store, or drugstore. Look for the brown dispenser box.
Doeskin.
If you've ever been to Venice, you remember the gondolas and the picturesque waterways. And you remember the food, too. Superb food, prepared with that very special Italian touch. The same special Italian touch that Chef Boyardee sauce with meat can give to your meals over here. Because the recipe for this tangy sauce has been brought over from Italy by this famous Italian chef. Chef Boyardee sauce with meat is made from juicy, sun-ripened tomatoes and tender, quality beef, simmered in a spicy sauce that makes a rice and cheese loaf, a casserole, or a spaghetti dish a real Italian-style dish. So when you'd like to add that special Italian touch to your dinner, do it with Chef Boyardee sauce with meat. Try Chef Boyardee sauce with mushrooms, too. Both are prepared from the chef's own Italian recipe.
Univac, the giant electronic brain made only by Remington Rand, takes business statistics from magnetic tape, letters, numbers, and punctuation marks, processing them through its electronic circuits at phenomenal speeds. Univac can compute payrolls electronically, then produce printed checks in a flash. Over 8,000 checks an hour with this high-speed printer. Univac leads the field of electronic computing.
What are you doing here? You ought to be outside with the rest of the kids.
This is where Thanksgiving really begins, isn't it, Edgar?
Well, now, if you're referring to the aroma of roast turkey, I concur.
No, Ray, I was talking about the kitchen. It looks like a real center of hospitality.
Did you say hospitality?
Uh-huh.
That's one thing we're always prepared for around here. Help yourself.
Wouldn't this be a good time for you and your guests to have Coca-Cola, too?
Yes, and Coca-Cola is so delicious, so refreshing, so tempting to any guest when you bring out those familiar bottles with tiny beads of moisture running down their frosty sides, assuring you that the Coke inside is really ice cold. And the good, the gracious, the friendly homes of America are always prepared for hospitality, not only on Thanksgiving Day, but every day, all the year around, no matter who comes to call or who happens to drop in. And one of the easiest, simplest, and surest ways in the world to be prepared for hospitality is to have plenty of Coca-Cola in your refrigerator, ice cold and ready to serve all the time. It's a wonderful way to say to folks, so glad you came. Welcome anytime.
When you have a Labatt's, you have an adventure. Canadian Light, that's Labatt's. It's a great new taste in beer. Enjoy import quality at USA prices. Have an adventure. Have a Labatt's.
What? Keeping the coffee in the icebox?
Yes, Mr. Jones, it's a new kind of coffee, roasted by a new secret process. Hence, this new none-such coffee has a different flavor, a flavor preserved by vacuum packing, the flavor retained by refrigeration after the jar has been opened. Just taste it. You can't miss that delicate aroma, that clean, mellow taste. Yes, in cooking, the way to a man's heart is most of all through the coffee pot. In every jar, you'll find 3 special pointers, valuable in all methods of making coffee. Try new none-such coffee now. Use half the jar. If not 100% satisfied, get all your money back from your grocer without argument. Special for Movie Week, only 28 cents a pound, plus 3 cents refundable deposit on the jar.
Yes, sir. If you want real entertainment, the best place to find it is in front of a General Electric Black Daylight Big-as-Life television set. Sports, comedy, drama, news, music. Yes, they're all yours, merely at the turn of a dial. This model has a big 16-inch black rectangular tube that lets you see everything that the camera sees, true to life and as big as life. Sparkling contrast and sharp focus give you pictures of such clarity that you feel you're right there on the scene. The cabinet, designed and constructed by America's leading cabinet makers, fits gracefully into any type of room. Genuine mahogany veneers, hand-rubbed for lasting beauty and durability, are just one example of the painstaking attention to every detail, which makes this cabinet one that you'll be proud to have in your home. The precision engineering and careful assembly techniques used in making this General Electric Black Daylight television set are your assurance of television at its finest. See it in operation at your General Electric dealers tomorrow, and when you see it, well, you'll know that you're seeing the best.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Something different for a change? Then try the perfect refreshment. Chili Dilly, a delicious pickle treat that's spiced just right for every bite. Economical, too. There's no waste. You eat every bit of the juicy goodness of Chili Dilly. How about trying one right now? Chili Dilly, on sale at our concession stand. You'll love 'em.
Something new has been added. The General Electric portable mixer now has a drink mixer for delicious shakes and juice drinks in quicker than a shake. An extra attachment at no extra cost. This GE portable mixer weighs less than 3 pounds, yet it's powerful enough to blend the heaviest batter. Also mixes sauces at the range. It has low speed for cookie dough, medium speed for beating frostings, and high speed for whipping egg whites. And look, this handy push button releases the beaters at a touch. And no dangling cord. You can remove the cord so it stores neatly on the wall. Comes in 4 decorator colors. See it at your GE dealers. Does any mixing job anywhere.
Welcome back. Took a little bit longer on that AFK than initially planned, but that's because ads fired. It still didn't work right, but it did put a summary in chat. It used Gemini instead of the Olama. Another couple cents down the drain. What's the emoji that didn't show up there? What did it try to put in there? Oh, another star emoji. All I got was the chicken and the star at the end and a broken image in the center. There's another broken image next to that clock. Same one. We're gonna move the white barbecue away from the cake. I'm not trying to put white barbecue on my cake. So I'm quartering some maraschinos. You kidding me? It's sealed that low. Oh well, let's strip it. Okay. Now imagine this with a whole bunch of plump, rehydrated, boozy raisins as well. I guess we'll just use that. And cutting what room there is here off of the cakes. They both sort of went over the edge a little more than I desired when I baked them. Though it's nice that they both fit in there nicely with a half box mix. It's the first time I obviously have tried to do that. Grab a few more cherries. Ooh, I wish I had some orange. Turn this into sort of like an old-fashioned cake with the lack of raisins. And throw some orange zest on this. Hey Bakery, welcome in. Hey Space. Not sure they can see me. It is certainly up there in the years, both for when they started putting athletes on boxes and when that commercial was made. It is no longer brand news. And just doing a sort of light, almost crumb coat with the frosting on the outside of this. I certainly didn't make enough to do a solid, thick. chicken and potatoes about ready to be coming out. Hey bakery, what I'm working on right now is I'm icing a lane cake. And then we've also got Cornish hens roasting in the oven and potato wedges roasting in the oven. And I've made a white barbecue sauce to go with them. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Both of these are looking great and ready to go. Oh yeah. Chicken's looking, or hens are looking good. I think that's where I'm going to stop with that. We got a nice light layer of frosting on that. I'm going to throw that in the fridge. Okay, back over here. Chicken time. Let's get the cherries off of the board. Let's get the excess cake scraps off of the board. Throwing those in with the excess frosting. Hey Softy, welcome in. So I don't know how I want to approach these chicken or Cornish hens. It's now beginning to irritate me that I'm not saying that right. I think we're just going to go with it. And we got our white barbecue sauce made up earlier. And we're just going to pour that over the bird. That sort of hid the chicken, or hid the... Damn it! Cornish hen! So I think I'm going to give a mop effect to it. For those unfamiliar, this is not sour cream. This is white barbecue sauce. Since we're doing Alabama tonight. This is a mayo-based barbecue with a bunch of vinegar, couple types of hot sauce, horseradish, pepper, garlic, onion, Worcestershire. It's tasty. It's different. I know the mayo lovers out there, or mayo haters out there, are definitely going to have issues with this because it's mayo. But like I said, the mayo gives it an almost cooling effect. Let's see if I change the view here on the board, if I can adjust the video. There, that should make the chicken pop a little bit better. It's not how I normally like my camera settings, but I don't really know if my camera settings are showing up right on the other end or not anyways. I lowered the brightness and upped the contrast a little bit, but photo time. So I think that concludes our first State Sunday. I'm going to give the cake a little bit of a touch-up after it sits in the fridge. And it's been a minute since I've done a proper plate wipe like this. Oh, hey, we can turn the oven off. And then waste not, want not. We got all this lovely white barbecue sauce back here. I need some for the other chicken, but that's probably enough for the other chicken there. And then we got some for dipping our wedges in. There we have it, folks. I do believe this is where we are going to be leaving this fine evening. I shall be back here tomorrow night. We're doing pasta tomorrow night. I'm going to be making large raviolis, stuffing them with egg yolks and sweet peppers, and then making a butternut squash soup to put said pasta in. So that shall be our project for tomorrow evening, should you hopefully come to join me for. I need ideas for doing other things with Cornish hens. I've got another 4 Cornish hens in the freezer now, along with the salmon and everything else. And broccoli now, and good evening tonight. This was a good dinner. Good stream. I enjoyed tonight. Let's see what else we got going on here. We have the ingredient challenge vote, which will be wrapping up tomorrow night during stream. It's getting close. Pickles dill pickles are trying to catch up to Vegemite. We're now 5 and 7, or at least we were before stream. So if you have strong opinions about that, now is your time to vote. Whichever wins on Wednesday, I will have to cook and use for dinner and dessert. So sweet and savory uses of either Vegemite or dill pickles. I'm giving a little bit of a bump to dill pickles here, by the way, because even though dill pickles have without question won a couple of times in the past, they've also been up for a couple of votes now in a row and just lost, just been wiped out by other things. It's not yeast extract, it's likely fermented yeast extract with something else. But yeah, a large part it's yeast extract. They buy brewer's yeast after they're done making beer with it and the yeast is dead. That said, most brewers recycle their yeast, but yeast keeps growing. It's a little like a starter, like you keep having more, so they actually sell their yeast that they don't use off to other companies. Like Vegemite. Or rather, is it Kraft that does Vegemite? Oh, I threw out my jar the other night. Very Kraft-like labeling on it. I don't know if it is or not. Kraft is certainly not what Kraft used to be. It's been bought up and chewed up and spit out by Berkshire and several other people. Several other companies. Let's see here. Who's out there tonight in Twitch land? I think I'm gonna just leave it here tonight. Haven't been raiding as much. I'm trying to find people to raid, but I don't want to raid the same people over and over again. I'm sure they would love that, but greatly appreciate all of you joining me. And like I said, I will be back here tomorrow. I hope you have a great start to your week. Have a great night, everyone. Good night.